Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has presented a plan to address our deficits and to end the debt ceiling impasse which threatens to cripple our economy. The Treasury is projected to run out of money next week, and time is running short. Senator Reid has shown great leadership with his pragmatic package. Leader Reid's proposal would give the Treasury the authority to ensure the United States does not default on its debt, while at the same time cutting $2.7 trillion from our budget. The unprecedented set of cuts would have a significant effect in balancing our budget and restoring fiscal sustainability to the federal government. I want to highlight one key thing. Unlike the House Republican budget, and unlike the so-called cut, cap, and balance plan, Leader Reid's plan will preserve Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Protecting Social Security and Medicare benefits is particularly important. The Republicans have long coveted Social Security and wanted to turn it over to Wall Street. George Bush tried and failed to do this because the American people wanted none of it. But they tried. The House Republican budget attacked Medicare, effectively turning it over to the private health insurance industry in 10 years. When the American people found out this was hidden in the Republican budget, they wanted none of it. Huge majorities of the American public disapproved of the Republican budget's attack on Medicare. But instead of relenting, the Republicans came back with cut, cap, and balance. Hidden behind that slogan was an even worse attack on Medicare. The House budget would have raised seniors' costs more than $6,000 a year. Cut, cap, and balance would have gone $2,500 beyond that. Cut, cap, and kill Medicare was a better name for it. Against that relentless Republican effort to go against the will of the American people and kill off Medicare, Leader Reid's proposal protects this vital program and the freedom and security it provides to American families. Now, make no mistake about it, our deficit reduction plan will not be easy. It will cut discretionary spending by $1.2 trillion over the next decade. These budget reductions will require some tough but necessary choices. The plan would also account for an accelerated wind down of U.S. forces in Iraq and Afghanistan, saving $1 trillion in the process. Our troops in the Middle East deserve our admiration and praise for so successfully carrying out their missions. We must, however, continue to press for a strategy that will bring our troops home as soon as we safely can. The Reid deficit plan would find an additional $40 billion in savings by cutting fraud and abuse in tax compliance and a number of non-defense federal programs, and $60 billion in other savings, including cutting unnecessary spending on agricultural subsidies and auctioning off electromagnetic spectrum that the government currently holds. Finally, by cutting the budget by over $2 trillion, we will have to borrow less money than anticipated, and that will save an additional $400 billion in projected interest costs. In total, the Senate Democratic plan on which we will vote would cut the deficits by $2.7 trillion over the next 10 years. While Senator Reid's proposal would not address the tax gimmicks and loopholes throughout our tax code that help favor the well-connected, this omission does not mean that Democrats have given up on ensuring that there is shared sacrifice as we work to balance the budget. Instead, this package acknowledges the political realities of the moment. Many House Republicans have flatly refused to entertain raising any revenues, not one tax loophole, no cutting of taxpayer subsidies to profitable oil companies, no closing down of offshore tax havens. That is wrong, and the Reid package reserves the tax side of budget reform for another day. We look forward to a robust discussion in the weeks and months ahead over Republican priorities that put special interest loopholes ahead of the interests of American families and ahead of the interests of the American economy. The Reid plan would establish a bipartisan commission to recommend budget changes, whose recommendations would then be guaranteed an up or down vote in both houses of Congress before the end of the year. These recommendations should focus on cutting the unjustifiable tax giveaways, the tax earmarks that allow profitable companies to avoid taxation entirely and permit mega millionaires and billionaires to pay lower effective tax rates than do middle-class families. The Reid plan meets the Republicans' initial demands in the debt ceiling negotiations. It cuts $2.7 trillion from the budget, greater than the amount by which the debt limit would be increased, and leaves tax reform for the next round of budget reform. But it doesn't yield to the Republican attack on Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. I hope that Republicans in the Senate and the House will appreciate the balance of Senator Reid's approach and support it.